Thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For this week's read, I'm using Tarot Grand Lux by Ciro Marchetti for the main tarot. The website I have on this one is usgamesinc.com. Feel free to freeze frame and check out that information if you're interested. The supportive oracle cards, magical spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. They're illustrated by Jesse Reish, and there's a website at the bottom, hayhouse.com. The dice that I use are from Amazon. Here's the stuff on the back. If it focuses. I use the D20 for the major arcana, which does omit 21, but I work with it. And then I use the D12 for the number of the minor arcana from 1 to knight. It omits queen and king, but I work with it. And I use the four-sided dice for the element, if you're wondering. All right. That's what I'm using. Hopefully that helps. And, if you want a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. And now on to your reading. Hello, Cancer. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you tune into them. That being said, what do we have for Cancer? Get the Sun card right off the bat. And the Judgment in your favor. Okay. We're liking how this is looking so far. What do you want to create? Ooh, what do you want to create? Something for you to create. So, okay. So, from what I understand of Cancer, usually not a big fan of change, but there are caveats to that. One of them is if you're the one creating the change, if you're the one in control of the change, this can be a welcome thing. This can be a welcome thing. Change can be very welcomed if you decide that that's what should happen and you start moving it forward. I feel like this is your moment to see it coming and kind of take the reins and kind of if it's going to change, might as well change the way I want it to. Whatever the situation is, it does have cycles. It has seasons, however you want to put it. It's almost kind of January is going to come. And for example, maybe there's certain things that have to be done in January. Where I live, taxes, for example. You know it's coming. So it's kind of you know what, now that I know that's going to happen, and this is going to happen, as a result of that, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. It's kind of since I know that's happening anyway, and I know how it plays out when the season starts, I can get ahead of that. It's kind of looking at it also kind of it's not all bad, but it's kind of looking at it, for example, maybe you're not a fan of January, for example, for whatever reason. Where I live, it's cold. Where you live, maybe not, but where I do, it is. And maybe you're there's a couple things I don't like about that. So maybe I'm just going to address it now. I got time before I get there. Let me just kind of address that now and, pull together what I want and make it what I want now. That way it's not just kind of here I am, like I always am. I'm getting ahead of it. And I feel like you're making a strong decision, kind of I know how that's going to play out. I know it's going to be necessary. I know I can get ahead of it. I want to get ahead of it. And that way, if I start handling it now, if I start pulling things together now, I got a lot of time, and it's not that heavy for me. You're making some really good choices. Really, really good choices. And you're creating this moment of the sun through owning it. Kind of I'm strategizing now. I know what the truth is. I'm strategizing now, and I'm going to make this sun moment. You're making this beautiful moment come in. Because of this, judgment is definitely going in your favor. The change is happening. You know it's coming. It's like a cycle, though. I feel I know. It's kind of like a change, but it's this cycle happens. This cycle just every now and then it just happens, and I see it coming. It's not about liking it. It's just about getting ahead of it. And you're making really good decisions. You're creating the abundance here. That is totally your effort moving this forward. Kind of I just want it to go better than usual, and I know if I start now, it will. So I'm going to do that. Making really, really, really good decisions. Really, really good ones. This is something also I'm getting that you're kind of preparing on your own, which I also think is a very smart decision, because if you're doing it all on your own, you don't have to work with other people in the sense of like other people getting in your way, other people not doing it the way it needs to be done, waiting for other people to show up, or people just kind of deciding they're going to do what they want, they're going to try to change it, they're going to try to manipulate it. Because you're doing it on your own, you don't have all those factors. It's just what you want it to be, and you're just setting it up for what you need it to be. I feel like that's a great way to do it too. Will you bring other people in? I do think that'll happen later. Because there's going to be a point where even though judgment is in your favor, you're going to kind of get stuck. So when you kind of get stuck, don't feel like you've done enough. Okay? Because it's kind of like, oh, I'm kind of stuck. Maybe this is all I can do for now. So I'll just leave it here and I'll wait for the rest of it to show up and I'll handle it when it shows up. I'm getting like, don't accept that. That's the point when you're stuck. That's where you need to bring in other people. Because if you do that, they're saying don't just accept that small amount of success. There's a bigger success you can have. It's kind of like, instead of having $100 settling for 10, like I could have had that $100, but I guess this is as far as I can go. So I guess $10 is better than no dollars. So I'll just take the $10. Don't settle for the $10. Go for the 10. Don't settle for the $10. Go for the 100. I think I said that messed up. Because you're gonna get this moment. You're like, I'm stuck. But if I ask so and so, but if I do that, where does that put things? They're not gonna see you coming. They're gonna be very shocked that you've done what you've done. It's not bad, but they're kind of like, wow, Cancer, you did what? You got ahead of that? What? I feel like people are just kind of like, you were doing, really? 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 I didn't think you were going to like that. And I feel like your response would be, it's not about liking it. I knew it was going to happen, so I just accepted it and started moving forward. People are kind of impressed with this. I feel like they're underestimating that you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You can, when Cancer decides to embrace change, wonderful things happen. Wonderful things happen. There's a lot of conversations. A lot of people are excited. Like, people are very motivated and very kind of like, wow, very energized. People are like really inspired by this. Like, wow, Cancer's ahead of us on this. Like Cancer who doesn't like change. They're ahead of us, way ahead of us. They're probably going to go on about it for a moment. I feel like that could have a little twinge of annoyance. If you can, I would just kind of ignore it or just kind of like, yeah, okay, let's move on. Let's just keep moving. Keep it moving. They might go on about it for a minute, and I feel like you may not care for that, but if we can just keep it moving, don't play into it too much. Just go, yeah, I know, and just keep going and bring up the important parts. Because I feel like they're going to bring you information that's going to help you continue forward. When they do that, they're going to build off of what you already created. Whatever you already created, that's where the magician comes in and says, it's almost like saying, oh, you gathered everything to make a bread? Okay, how about we make a sourdough, and then we can do this, we can also make biscuits, and then we can also make some pie crusts. Kind of like, well, I was just going to make flatbread, but yeah, that works, that's fine. Like, maybe you were gathering ingredients just to make flatbread, but they're like, we can make a sourdough, and we can make some biscuits, and we can make some pie crust. Let's do all that. And you're like, down the same road, that's fine. I'm okay with all that stuff. So does that make sense? I hope that does make sense the way I'm explaining it. So it's kind of like, it's still bread. Maybe you're like, I preferred flatbread. Sourdough's good. Biscuits, I like biscuits. Pie, well, if we're going to make a pie, let's not. If we can, why not? Why not? There's as much we can make out of it. As long as people are helping and other people are part of this, okay, I can go with that. People are going to be like all over you. They want you to be a part of stuff. And I feel like you're going to keep getting this energy coming towards you like, wow, we didn't think you were really going to be open to that. We didn't think you would move forward with that. Again, when Cancer embraces change, beautiful things happen. I don't feel like it's bad, but okay, can we get like how Cancer's going to respond? It says harmony, and it says the King of Cups, so it's good energy. But people going on about it for a little bit longer than you really care for. Is Judgment in your favor? You got Judgment in your favor and the Six of Wands reversed. So it's kind of like people want you to be a part of more things that are changing. Like, hey, maybe there's more things that we're going to change that you could be a part of. You could kind of spearhead that stuff. You could be the beginning of that stuff. We want to change this and we want to change that. Maybe you can help us with that too. It's kind of like judgment in your favor, like people want to include you. Also at the same time, like, yeah, but I don't want to change those things. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's great, but I don't want to change those things. Harmony's there. People are pulling forward and like, hey, you did great with that. You want to be a part of this? That's up to you. They're just giving you a heads up that you're going to be asked to be a part of these things that create more change. Judgment in your favor. People believe in you. If this is a business situation, obviously this will work to your advantage. I also get that these are things like, I don't really want to be a part of those things, but it's good for the career, so maybe I'll do it. For those of you, this is more of a friend or family thing. It's kind of like, oh boy. Maybe. It's kind of like people are talking about changes they're going to be a part of, and changes like they might want your advice about how to do this change and how to do that change, just to make it really vague, I guess. It's judgment in your favor, but it's kind of like, I'm not invested into those changes, but they're just giving you a heads up that that's coming. People really want your input. People really want to know what you think because they're really impressed with how you handled this change. You did really well. You made really great decisions, and they just want to also make some great decisions. So it's more of an accolade. It's more of a kudo. I don't know. I get this weird, like, I don't know if I like it or not type energy when you get there. I feel like if they give you a heads up about it coming, I feel like you can make peace with it before it happens. Maybe it'll be more smooth for you. Anything else? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.